Welcome to Keto on the Couch, episode 160.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are two crazy ketos.
And if you're new to our channel, welcome.
Yes, welcome. If you are new here, say hi down below.
Now here on Two Crazy Ketos, we do different things like recipe videos and we do product reviews. We talk about various keto topics, and then every Monday, we go live on Keto on the Couch, where we just kind of talk about what's going on in our lives for the week.
You can find us in different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And we have a website, which is twocrazyketos.com, and that's where you're going to find all of our different recipes. Now, we do upload at least 5 new videos every single week, so make sure you subscribe to our channel.
And don't forget to hit the little bell icon, and that way every single time it's Monday, you'll be alerted to it. Happy Monday, sir.
Happy Monday. It worked. You're a little washed out. I'm gonna
Sorry.
Add
I'm washed out this morning.
A little bit of saturation here.
Okay. Tan me up.
There we
Is there a tan button? Because I would love a tan button.
There we go. That looks a little better.
Thanks.
Yeah, I reprogrammed everything so we don't get that flash of gray screen. That's all got to do with green screen and everything.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we got all
of that. It's a little tricky.
All that fixed. How is everybody's Monday going? It's April 4th.
Yes.
I can't believe it's already April 4th.
Well, it's time
Christmas is almost here.
Put the Christmas decorations out because it'll be here any minute.
We are actually only 8 days away from leaving for Keto Salt Lake.
I am not even remotely packed. Not even remotely.
I haven't finished my taxes yet. And they are due the day we land in Salt Lake.
You're making me sweaty.
Okay, welcome to Keto on the Couch. If you are new here, this is all about subscribers.
Yeah.
We like to basically go over comments from last week's Keto on the Couch, look at Facebook comments from our Facebook family group, which there is a link for down below.
Yeah.
As well as
that.
Just highlight people's success stories, answer questions, things like that. Now, we do this live because when we used to record it, it took about 7 to 10 hours to edit the whole video and everything.
What else could we do with those 7 to 10 hours?
So we do it live. So the way we do this, we go to a regular Keto on the Couch. We don't pay too much attention to the chat during the actual part of Keto on the Couch. And then like the last 15 or 20 minutes, we address the chat. So if you have a question that's pertinent to whatever we're discussing and you want us to recognize it right away, go ahead and use the super chat function down below. That's the little $ you see in the chat window. That will actually highlight our screen and let us know that, hey, I have something to say. Otherwise,
what you're doing.
If you have something you want us to address, kind of hang out towards the end because we don't go all the way back to the beginning of the chat.
That's the stop the presses button.
Yes, it is. Now, I did want to mention real quick, I saw, for those of you who like Lolli's cookie clusters,
Lolli,
there's a link down below.
Here.
The link should get you a discount, but we don't make any money off of it because they're having some financial difficulties, and we asked them, leave our coupon code up, but you don't need to give us any kind of affiliate money or anything like that. But they are putting German chocolate cake one on hold. So they're
Are you sad?
I am.
That's like one of your favorites.
All of their stuff is fresh baked.
Yeah.
It's all fresh baked. So when you order it, it takes 7 to 10 days to get it because they're going to fresh bake it when you order. This is not stuff that they have stuck in the freezer or anything like that. But to make room in their kitchen, they only have certain flavors at each time.
Yeah.
So right now they're having a clearance sale, $6.99 a bag.
That's really good.
So use the link down below. And again, we don't make any money off of it, but if you like them, go stock up. I use that in my keto chow ice cream and putting it on yogurt as well.
And it kind of consoles you, right?
Right.
Like, because it's like, all right, I can't eat a lot of like crunchy food,
crunchy nuts and
but I
seeds
can have
and
some
things like
cake
that.
inside of my ice cream.
Let's jump right into Keto on the Couch. We're going to start off with our Keto College Adjunct Professor of the Week. This was an inspirational post that I found over on our Facebook group. And it's from Debbie.
Oh, thanks, Debbie.
Debbie put up this little meme, and I love this. She said, self-improvement and changing habits takes time. Your weight, your habits, your patterns, and your issues did not pop up overnight, so don't be extreme on yourself and expect to reverse them in a day, week, or month. Making big changes takes time and grace. Just try your best every day and stay on the path. You will get where you want to be, but don't forget to keep loving yourself every step of the way, just as you are.
So good.
It says it's okay if you do nothing some days, if you outgrow people, if you battle with bad habits, if you struggle to accept help, and if you remake mistakes. If you're not there yet.
All of those situations can arise and it's okay. I love that. I love that reminder. I needed somebody to tell me it's okay. Thank you, Debbie.
Why is it saying my stream's bit right? Sharon, thank you very
Thanks,
much
Sharon.
for becoming a channel member.
Welcome aboard.
Okay, ready? Next one.
We're
Turn that off.
expecting you.
This is our subscriber of the week.
Hey, Laylee.
Which is an inspirational story. It's somebody's success story. Laylee said, I've been on my journey for nearly 2 years now. I still have a ways to go, but today I had a non-scale victory. I wore a romper.
Ooh, I love that.
A one-piece, non-forgiving, that shows my stuff romper.
Yes, because there's a distinction.
Oh, how far I've come. January 2020 versus today.
Ooh, Laylee. Girl, you are looking hot. I definitely need the link for that romper because that is super stinking cute. I love that. I've been looking for a good romper. And I mean, you know, some work with me and some don't. Like some can accentuate some. That like looks perfect on you. I love that.
Yeah. Congratulations, Laylee. You
Way
look
to
great.
go.
Now, I do want to say, please share your story. Your story is so important. It is so important to share your story. I'm actually studying some health and nutrition stuff, and it's like one of the first things that they talk about in the course is sharing your story, how stories are important. Stories are more important than knowing the facts and things. Stories motivate us. When you share your story, you're first of all going to help remind yourself of where you've come from, and that's important. But also, you're going to motivate other people. There's somebody out there right now that is going through what you have gone through or what you're going through, and they think they're alone. And when you share your story, it allows them to identify and go, hey, I can do this. It's so important. So please head on over to our Facebook family group and share your story. I'd like to have more than one story a week.
Yeah, to highlight.
But I'm not looking for content. I'm looking again because we are all about changing lives, and your story will change lives.
It matters.
And it doesn't matter if you've been doing this for a day, a week, a month, a year, 10 years. You have a story. Your story may have changed. You may have told your story a year ago, and now all of a sudden you have a new win. Share the wins because it's important. Okay, let's get right into the comments from last week's YouTube. And the first one is from Synergy.
Hey, Synergy.
She said, the one bite won't hurt suggestion is not advice that I can listen to.
It's good to know.
I have trained myself to not pay attention to those comments. Well-intentioned or not, I think most people at work have an idea of how I eat, but they seem to be mostly curious about anyone eating differently than they do.
That's true.
They seem to enjoy questioning our newish employee, a 5-year vegan. We do present a challenge for holiday work parties.
I'm sure, but that is interesting, and I love knowing yourself. I know that while that statement, like, you know, just have a bite, may work for some people, and I'm not trying to police their journey, but it doesn't work for me. So I appreciate what you're trying to do. I can see the intention behind what you're saying to me. You're trying to be encouraging to me, but actually that's not for me. So I'm just not going to do that.
Yeah. It's really, really important that we we focus on ourselves. We know ourselves. And again, I say it all the time. People say, oh, you could have a bite. I can't. I mean, and that's me. And you might be able to, but I can't. Why? I'm an addict. We say this all the time. We would not say to an alcoholic or a recovering drug addict,
just one drink.
You can have one drink.
Yeah.
You can have one snort because it's going to send them down a bad path. Well, it's the same thing with me. People ask me, how come you've never had bread in 5 years?
Like they're mad about it.
Because I wouldn't have stopped at one piece.
Yeah.
It would have continued on and on and on. And the next thing I know, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. Okay, next one is from I think it's supposed to be Suzanne.
Hey, Suzanne. Sorry about that. Forgot to ask about electrolytes. I do not do not like probably the Element electrolytes. Too much salt for me. How does Redmond compare to them?
Honestly, if you don't like Element, Redmond is about the same. So both of them. Well, actually, the new Redmonds have a little bit less sodium because what they did is they actually lowered the amount in a serving and increased serving. So when you buy a container, it's the same exact amount that you had before. But
they've rationed it out.
So you get more servings in a container, but they put a little bit less of the electrolytes in each serving. And the reason is because they used to have it like where you would put it into
Like a plastic water bottle.
They measured it out based on 24 ounces of water.
Yeah.
But most people just buy a 16-ounce bottle.
Yeah.
And they would put it in there. So they would find, hey, you're taking this big serving and you're putting it in 16-ounce water and it's way too salty. So they basically put it in the amount that you should have in 16 ounces of water. But it is still pretty salty because it's electrolytes.
It's working.
We need that
doing
sodium.
Stuff.
And I encourage people, and I don't know if it's just it's too salty because you don't like salt or you're afraid of salt, but I encourage everybody, if you are on keto, and again, we are not doctors, nurses, or health professionals, but don't be afraid of salt.
Yeah.
Okay. Sodium is so important. Go back to the video where we talked to Dr. Siwitz, and he talked about sodium is so important. It's like the most important element that you're going to put in your body. Your body's going to do everything it can to regulate the amount of sodium and make sure you have the proper amount in there. And if we're not consuming enough, it can become an issue. You can end up with high blood pressure. You can end up constipated. You can actually, believe it or not, if you don't eat enough salt, it can raise your insulin, or actually does raise your insulin, which is a fat storing hormone, which means if you're not consuming enough sodium,
Ruh-roh.
you could hit a stall and possibly even gain weight for the simple reason of not eating enough sodium.
So I have been challenged by even Caleb to be like, okay, if I don't like it this way, how can I make it work in my diet? And for Caleb, he noticed that I do better if I turn a Redmond Relight into a slushie. So he likes to have it with like a bunch of crushed ice and then have the Redmond. And for whatever reason, he's like, when it's in that format, I really enjoy it. We've enjoyed having the chocolate salt element in our coffee. It's kind of a weird thing. It feels like the salt goes
salty.
away. So I think that you also have like the capsules from Redmond if you're like, I don't like the taste of it. So just kind of being proactive and finding a way to get it in, because you first are like, I need this. Getting this in my body is not negotiable. So what I need to do is find a way where I can get it in, even if I have to dilute it or whatever.
I just noticed this comment. Melissa said, good morning. Thank you,
Melissa.
Rachel, for the comment you made about the water park and the scale. I think I will always have triggers that I will need to work on from before my weight loss.
Thanks so much for saying that, because it was, I think that sometimes we feel like, well, if I am maturing in my health journey, that there are going to be some times when things don't upset me anymore, when I don't have an emotional response. Somehow I'm going to adult my way out of this not bothering me anymore, whether it is grief, like there's an expiration date on it or something. Right. And that is just not true. And it's interesting that brought that up to me when I'm really 4 years removed from having to worry that I won't make the scale weight on a ride, but just the experience of public weighing was very traumatic to me.
I will tell you with that, so we would get up to the top, and the first time I'm like, okay. So I get up to the top and the guy goes, and I'm like the first one in the group. And he looks at me and he was like, listen, there's a 250-pound weight limit, so I need you to get on the scale and weigh. And my initial reaction was, how fat do I look?
So it was,
right?
So yeah.
It was like, how fat do I look? Now, I didn't realize at the time he was making everybody get on the scale, because the last time we went, which was a few years ago, they didn't do that. And I remember the last time we went, getting up to the top of the ride and him going, hey, I need you to get on the scale.
Yeah.
And me going, yes. Because I knew for a fact that I was under, because I had just at that point hit 190 pounds. And I knew it was going to make me feel good, because in the past I had not had that feeling. But this time it was just hit me like, how fat do I look? So it was a humiliating thing for me.
If you go through a season where you're having a little bit of trouble with like what you look like in the mirror and the reality of that, like what is the truth versus what am I seeing? What am I perceiving? Yeah, it can hit you in a bad situation.
Chris said, if you really can't handle the saltiness of electrolytes in a drink, there are capsules from Redmond and the Keto Chow electrolyte tablets.
And that really helps.
Yeah, and Rachel uses them a lot. We use the Keto Chow drops because I don't taste them at all, and I think that they are amazing.
Yes.
We can't use
You can also cook with it.
Yeah, but we can't use the Keto Chow tablets here because
Humidity.
as soon as I open them up, if you don't get that thing super tight and like store them in the right way, they turn into powder here because we have such high humidity.
Their hair is
that's where
all
I just
curly.
love that Keto Chow drops. Just one more real quick. S. McCabe said, can we come to the meet and greet in Orlando before the cruise? When and where?
Yeah.
That is something to do with the cruise with Debbie, and I believe it's just a pre-cruise dinner. We asked her if we could go to the meet and greet because we were supposed to be on the cruise, and she told us, but I don't think it's open to everybody else. Now, we are going to be going up to Orlando. If you're going to be maybe flying in early, if you're going to the cruise and going to Universal Studios, our plan is actually to go to Universal Studios on probably Friday.
I want to ride Hogwarts with somebody.
If you're going to be in the area and if you're going to Universal Studios maybe the day or before or something, we will probably be up there on Friday and we're going to go to the pre-cruise dinner. But if you are in the Florida area and looking for a meet and greet, don't forget we will be speaking at the Keto Summit in Orlando in August. Okay, let's get back over to the next comment. It's from Laura.
Hey, Laura, that website you listed for ideal and adjusted body weight is fascinating. The ideal body weight it gave me is the same as all of the charts have listed for me my entire life, 120. However, the adjusted body weight is actually right around where I'm trying to aim, 134 pounds. And that equals 61 kilograms, which when you double that comes to 122 grams of protein from one of the protein equations. And this tells me that my figuring has been almost spot on the entire time about the amount of protein I need to aim for each day, with occasionally getting a little more.
Yeah, so last week we mentioned a website that I found. It's a doctor website that will help you figure out your ideal body weight. And if you're trying to figure out your ideal body weight for the 1-to-1 or for anything else, I think it's an amazing website. So I left a link for it down below. I don't remember the exact, what the whole thing is, but they use those stupid charts from the 70s and 80s, but then they tell you basically adjust it. And for me, it's spot on too, because I think my ideal body weight based on those stupid charts is like 160 something pounds.
You really think about the charts.
But when you look at what they say as your adjusted body weight, it's between 180 and 190 pounds.
It's a normal weight.
And so I'm like, oh, well, that's where I felt good. That's where I think I looked good. So it's a great website if you're looking for a way to figure out, like, how much should I weigh according to the stupid charts, and then how much should I weigh realistically? Wow. Okay. Next one is from Patty.
Hey, Patty.
Patty said, Rachel's comments about losing weight, not just maintaining, has been spoken by thousands. She gets us.
Wow, thank you. I really appreciate that. Because sometimes I wonder, like, am I the only person that thinks this way? So I'm really glad to know I'm not alone. Thank you for that.
Next one is from
Mikos Danes. Rachel, when you made the change to 1 coffee experience a day, food that help with weight loss or help with anything else, I drink coffee throughout the day. Just wondering if it made a big difference for you. So now that we're tracking once again, are you having a problem?
There is no link for the body website. It was left blank.
Oh, okay.
I will get it.
Yeah, we'll get that in. Thanks, Becky.
Go ahead and finish. You answer that and I'll look for it.
Yeah, so what I have been doing lately is swapping out my coffee experiences that I was doing all through the day. So usually when you see us do a vlog, I will have a coffee and my coffee has something in it. It's lightening up, whether it is Keto Chow or it is an egg or it's like a super coffee creamer or something in my coffee. But then the rest of the day, when I'm working or doing stuff around the house, I will have black coffee. It's just kind of like a bridge that I normally use in between meals. And I can have 5 coffees in a day that's just black coffee. So once we started tracking in April, I was reminded again that even black coffee doesn't have no carbs in it. My size coffee, like a 30-ounce coffee, has about 4 total carbs in it. So okay. Well, so I put it in, it was like 30 ounces.
That's with 30 ounces.
Yeah. Most people probably don't drink 30 ounces, but when I put in what I was actually authentically drinking, that's where we put me. So I thought, okay, well, I don't want to have 5 of those occasions in a day because it adds up. I don't want 20 total carbs that I'm just drinking when all I really need is just some kind of liquid passing through my mouth. Right. So I have switched it up to water so that I still have something to reach for, and I'm drinking water throughout the day. And I will say that when you go from having a bunch of extra caffeine in a day to less caffeine in a day, I did feel a little bit of a headache, a little bit of withdrawal symptoms. I feel like that's natural. But my focus of, okay, I'm expecting I'm gonna feel a little bit blue for the first day, but I will get used to switching it out. By the end of the week, I was fine.
Yep. Now, one thing I do wanna mention, yes, there are carbs in coffee. They're different than eating sugar carbs. Yeah. Just like there's a calorie is not a calorie. It's like Dr. Berry says, don't worry about the carbs in an egg. Right. I wouldn't get overly excited about the carbs in coffee. It's just something to be aware of if you're like Rachel and you were drinking 2 pots a day.
That's a lot. Okay? That's more than your average
it's just something to be aware of. But on average, you've got just less than a carb per cup. And a cup is actually like 6 ounces. So it's just, just something to be aware of, okay? Next one we have is from Quiet Storm.
Hey, Quiet Storm.
Said, learning to deal with the undermining by my family and my friends is one of the skills we all need to develop. The trick is to recognize it when it occurs so that we can deal with it as effectively as possible. First, I try not to be reactive and lash out at them. I try to be understanding. I undermine myself with alarming regularity, so it is only reasonable that I be understanding when others do it to me.
That's good.
Instead, I treat it as an opportunity to express my self-empowerment.
Nice.
The more we learn to withstand peer pressure, the more we become our own person, able to follow the path that we have charted for ourselves. If I can, I lovingly explain to them that I have set my own goals for health and happiness, and I would appreciate their support and understanding in reaching those goals. Otherwise, I simply say, that doesn't work for me, and simply disengage. I try to avoid having a protracted emotional disagreement because that is usually counterproductive to both my goals and my relationships. It is my life and my happiness. Being focused on that helps me stay the course.
I like that attitude a lot because you're transforming what could be a really negative experience that you think that might actually damper your relationship with somebody and turning it into an opportunity, almost like a Post-it note to remind yourself of your why. Right? Like that is a good opportunity for you to be like, okay, you have invited me into a conversation about health and nutrition because that's what you're talking about. That is the topic of this discussion that you are bringing up with me because I'm not Lion Kinging my keto on everybody. But if you want to come into a conversation with me, I'm going to use it as a positive experience where I'm not going to be afraid of it or worried about it or like gear up for a fight, but instead I'm going to be able to use this as an opportunity to remind myself of why I am doing that. And I like that.
It's interesting. On Saturday, I worked 3 high school lacrosse games with an older official who's been around for a long time. He's like an elder statesman.
You really respect him.
I have a lot of respect for him. He's done like national college championships. I always learn from him. And he's from Massachusetts, but he also has a house in Colorado, and he kind of bounces between the 3 doing lacrosse. So like this is our lacrosse season. Massachusetts is just starting now. Whereas we're at the end. This is the last week.
Yeah.
So I love when he comes in because I try to get 1 or 2 games with him so I can learn from him. And he lovingly points out my issues and what I'm doing wrong. And he wants me to get better, and he wants Anthony to get better. And he was telling me how he sat down with Anthony the other day for about 30 minutes after the game in the car, and he was telling him, when I started, the rule was 1 page.
Right.
And now it's a book. And he's like, and he could tell you every rule that changed, why they added it, how it impacted the game. And he was like, my goal is to develop you into a great official, and then when you're my age, you're sitting in a car with a 20-year-old gentleman who is trying to come up, and you can go, hey, I remember when I was your age, this guy Juice took me under my wing.
Generational blessing.
Right? So, but one of the things that he said to me was, one of the things I want you to do is stop being confrontational. When a coach asks you a question, when a coach yells out like, I don't know, why didn't you call that? Or why did you call that? Simple answer and move on.
Wow.
The less you say, the better. I know that was a long thing to get back to. The less you say, the better. So, and that is a habit I have of, I want to defend myself.
Right.
Right? So somebody comes up at me and says, well, that's a dangerous diet. And then I want to go on a long diatribe. And my answer needs to be,
works for me.
You know what? It works for me. Or let's just agree to disagree.
Yeah.
And move on.
Right.
Because the more I open my mouth, the more trouble I'm going to get into.
That's really true. That's good.
Okay, scam likely. Let's take a quick
That's
pause.
my boyfriend. Why is he calling you?
And we will come right back with the Facebook comments.
I hope this Monday is being magical for you right now.
Okay, first comment from Facebook is from Debbie.
Debbie, okay, everyone says come here and share even the non-good stuff and people will help. Doesn't seem to work for me getting responses, but trying again. Not sure what I'm doing for April, but I have got to do something. I see all these challenges here with Two Crazy Ketos, with Wendy and Harry, with Keto Chow folks, with Nisha Berry, and trying to figure out what is going to work with me. I need to get weight off. My weight is back up by 20 pounds and I hate it. I know everyone says don't focus on the scale, and I'm not just focusing on that, but it is a factor. I'm also not liking how clothes fit, not liking how I feel, not liking me. I've tried doing BBB and E, but can't seem to stick with it for more than a week or two each time I've tried. I have meat in the freezer, I have Keto Chow in the cupboard, and keep warring between the two. I know two of my problems are stress and sleep, but neither of these are going to get any better for the next few months as I deal with selling a home and moving and all that encompasses. I did submit an order in the middle of the night when I couldn't sleep and getting some perfect keto, beauty, and sleep to try. I wish there was someone with me who would support me and encourage me and help me stay whatever path I choose, but there is no one except me and the dog.
Okay, so first of all, Debbie, you can do this. Okay, you've got this. We do have an amazing community. Reach out. I think I actually saw somebody comment on this, like, hey, if you need somebody to talk to, an accountability partner, write me. Go ahead and instant message me. And that's what I love about our community. That was always our goal and our dream with building Two Crazy Ketos and the family group. As far as the scale and stuff, just find what works for you as far as getting things better. The reason we came up with the tracking thing, and again, this is not just about logging everything you eat and trying to hit your macros. It's about being honest with yourself. It's about not fooling yourself anymore. As I see a lot of things showing up on our Facebook group about, wow, I thought I was only eating 2 meals a day, but if I really look at, I've been like writing down every time I put something in my mouth, and they're like, I'm eating 30 something times a day.
Yes.
Because if you go grab a piece of gum, that's something. If you have,
handful of nuts.
A handful of nuts, one nut, it's something. And all of them are causing some insulin reactions, whether it be a small one or a big one. So it's about being honest with ourselves. One of the things that I'm learning on tracking is we eat more carbs than I thought. Now, not bad carbs, but if you really want to be honest with yourself and go, hey, there's almost a full carb in an extra large egg, then those are carbs. And again, like even Dr. Berry says, don't worry about them, but it's still just to recognize.
Just observing
what is going on. And again, they're not necessarily bad carbs, but when I look at the overall picture, am I eating enough? I right now am under eating because of my teeth issues. You can only get X amount of protein and your fat in on a soft food diet without starting to feel just disgusted to the food, and I don't want to have the food aversion. So I'm trying to find ways to get things like ground beef and without pureeing. Please do not suggest to me that I puree it. It just, I know it's possible, but it's just like, it's like Rachel with liver. Like, I know it's good for me, but she just can't do it.
Somebody suggested Vienna sausages to you.
Yeah, no, that's never happening. But Even though I'm under eating, and I mean, I'm not way under eating, but even though I'm eating a lot less, the scale's not moving. Why? Because of stress and sleep. And I know that is something that I have to work on, and that is something I am tracking right now. And we did it last night. We filmed the chronometer video, which is going to go up as soon as Rachel finishes
Sorry, I gotta
previewing
preview it.
But we filmed that last night, and I'm like, I've got to edit this. And then I looked at her, I'm like, I need sleep. I'm getting 3 hours of sleep a night. So yes, we promised this video was going up, but it's not.
Right.
Because
I have to wait until
I have to get my sleep.
you rest.
And yes, you're dealing with stress from selling your house, but you've got to get the sleep. Find some way to deal with the stress. Go for a walk, something like that. And this is really for anybody. But the sleep is more important. Put something else off. Turn off the television, something like that. Let's move on to the next one. It's from Donna.
Hey, Donna. Oh, me?
Yes.
Egg pudding question. As the pudding sets up, will the flavor and or sweetness increase? I use pistachio keto chow and English toffee stevia. When I licked the spoon, it didn't taste like pistachio and wasn't very sweet. Thanks.
Okay, so yes, it will. The flavor amps up. As far as if you're only using stevia, it depends on how much you add. You know, it's for me. What I always do is when I make the pudding, I taste it and see how sweet is it, knowing that it will sweeten up a little bit. But if it's like not sweet at all, you might want to add a little bit more. The cool thing is this: is once it sets up, you can go ahead and taste it. If it's still not sweet enough, you can add some more and just hit it with a hand mixer.
Yeah, the
and
hand
it will
mixer
be fine,
helps.
especially if you're using a liquid sweetener. Okay. Next one is from Michelle.
Hey, Michelle.
Michelle said, for the April Tracking Stop Fooling Yourself Challenge, I'm tracking getting to bed on time.
Awesome.
Plus being more truthful in my food tracking. I've been tracking all my food in Chronometer for a couple of months, and it has been super helpful. I do tend to push the limit, though. Like, I'll record a tablespoon of peanut butter, but it's really a rounded up tablespoonful.
Man, Michelle, you're like me.
It's like if the speed limit is 100 kilometers per hour, I may find myself leaning towards 110 kilometers per hour because I feel compelled to push beyond the limit to see if I can get away with it.
Is this Rachel?
For the April challenge, I'm trying not to cheat like that. Fooling myself like that does not help me achieve my goals.
I'm serious. I think that Michelle and me are like sisters from another mister, because that is exactly me. And then I get frustrated when my clothes and the scale and measurements don't reflect perfect tracking, and yet I well know that if I am, scooping peanut butter, that thing is so mounded, it is nowhere near a tablespoon.
Or you can do what I used to do, which is as I'm measuring it out, a spoon hits my mouth, and that doesn't get counted.
Yes.
It's just what's actually in the meal.
It's funny, like when I am portioning things out, I will eye it. And boy, I may not need glasses for reading, but I need glasses for tracking, because me eyeing something is not going to be accurate.
Yep. Next one is from Rosa.
Hey, Rosa. The daily track is a real challenge. Everything I put in my mouth and the times I do it. It's been 2 days that even I say to myself, what are you doing? I work under pressure in a nursing home from 3 to 11 p.m. Regularly, my hunger starts at noon, but the stress at work makes me have late snacks. I know it's something I have to control, but I still can't figure out how to do that. Well, I would say that the first step in handling it is knowing what it is that needs to be handled, right? Because I think that this tracking is going to see where are my actual problem areas, what are my problem hours, what are the stressors because here's the thing, sometimes you have stress that you manage in a way and don't respond to it in food. So I need to pinpoint what are the stressors that I do handle with food. What are the times or the snacking opportunities or hours in the day where I do go off my intentions. So I think that is the first step in taking this week to really observe what are your actual habits, and then we can make a plan for how we are going to deal with specific problems.
Yeah. I just saw this comment from Blanche, said if I'm taking Keto Chow daily minerals and salting with red beans, do I still need electrolytes? That's a great question.
It is a great question.
So the Keto Chow daily minerals, They are a base for all of your mineral needs. So Dr. Berry came up with them because he was tired of having to take all of these different mineral supplements like iodine and everything else. So it's got everything in there, but it's a base for your day. For the rest of what you need, like electrolytes, it depends on you. You go through the day and see how you feel. You start listening to your body. If you're super constipated, you probably need some more salt. If you're having some heart palpitations and things like that, it's possibly an electrolyte thing. Again, we're not doctors, nurses, or health professionals. But if you're getting cramps, maybe you need more potassium. If you're getting cramps in your legs, and at night when you're laying down, you may need more magnesium. So you have to kind of listen to your body. Salting with your food is always the first step, because without the proper amount of sodium, the rest of them are automatically going to be low.
Right.
So the sodium kind of controls them all. One of the cool things, if you're curious, like, am I getting enough in? First of all, getting blood tests is always going to help you. But if you do use Chronometer, and we show you in the video that's going to be coming out in a couple of hours, you can track even down to your electrolytes.
Yes.
It'll even tell you, there's a thing on there where you can find what is the ratio of sodium to potassium that I'm taking in.
Wow.
Because there are electrolytes in your food.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is potassium and there is sodium and magnesium in the food. Magnesium, not so much on a keto diet, because you're going to find that in stuff that's not necessarily keto. But especially sodium and potassium, you can find that in a lot of foods. So you may be getting enough just in your food and don't need it, but it also depends on what is your activity level. So looking at something in Chronometer is going to tell you, like, hey, you're probably a little low on potassium, or you need more sodium, okay? Okay, so let me turn that one off. Next one is from Renee.
Hey Renee, oh my, first day into challenge and I'm already blown away at how much I'm actually consuming. Well, this explains my 6-month stall. Thank you so much for saying that, Renee, because I think that, at least for me, I need that reminder that this information that I'm going to get from tracking is going to help me, because my knee-jerk reaction to tracking is, that's not for me. I can't do it. It makes me crazy. I don't want to do that. Tracking is stupid. And I have to think, if I am having such a temper tantrum about the possibility of tracking, there's probably a reason why I need to. That's probably linked to why I need to do it. And I'm going to trust that as I track and I gain information, I'm not going to beat myself up with it. I'm going to take this new information and I'm going to be able to do something with it.
Right. Maitreya said 2.8 for 20 ounces, which is the carbs in coffee, is no problem. Better than the 0.5 for 2 espresso shots.
Wow, that is absolutely accurate. And boy, I can throw those back. I love me some espresso.
Sonia said, I still see the fat even when I look in the mirror. I know my mind how far I've come, but my eyes deceive me on a daily basis. It's a struggle. I'm trying to see the new me instead of fearing the old. That's why we say the scale's the devil and the mirror is a liar. Yep. Next one is from Tamara.
Hey, Tamara.
Said, I've been stalled at 172 pounds for about 5 months, down from 242 in 2020.
Way to go,
Since stalling, I've dropped 2 sizes and I feel great, but the scale number is haunting me badly lately, as people are telling me I'm tiny, but I'm not seeing what they are, and it's frustrating. I'm 90% meat-based and never allow myself to feel starved. I've eaten until full, and I naturally intermittent fast.
I think that you are doing fantastic. And I think that if I ask myself, well, while you were reading that, I was thinking to myself, okay, well, if my size doesn't make sense to me in comparison to the fact that the scale is not moving, do we want to go back to the higher size until the scale and the clothing connect? Right. No, I don't. Right. I am going to enjoy what I can enjoy, which is the 2 sizes are down, and I will obviously see that if everybody else is noticing that I'm getting smaller, my clothes says that I'm going smaller, that it's not my fault. It means that the scale is not reflecting all of the truth. It's interesting that we think everybody else and our clothing is a liar, but the scale is like perfect and always tells me the entire truth, because clearly it is not.
This one just jumped up real quick.
Hey, Wendy.
From Wendy. Thank you for being a channel member. It said, I've noticed I can be really thirsty, and no matter how much water I drink, I'm still really thirsty. If I add Redmond electrolytes, it quenches the thirst.
Yeah.
Yes, because hydration isn't about water.
Right.
Okay, it can be, but in our body, hydration is more about are electrolytes. So if you are low on electrolytes and you continue to just drink a lot of water, your body has to get rid of that water. And what you end up doing is just diluting things more within your body. So it's important. I mean, it's the same thing if you have a whole bunch of electrolytes and have absolutely no liquid coming in, that can be a problem too. Because if you eat a whole bunch of salt, but don't have any water, your body, now you've got too much salt in your body, because the only way your body is going to get rid of the excess sodium is through your poop, through sweat, or through urine. It's actually poop, urine, then sweat. That's how your body gets rid of the extra sodium. But if you don't consume enough, that could be an issue. Like technically, we could drink salt water, just like, ocean water. The problem is there would not be enough actual H2O without the sodium in there to be able to flush out drinking all of that extra sodium. So you would end up with issues. But if you drank, say, like a cup of salt water from the ocean and 4 cups of water, your body would get rid of the extra sodium. So salt will quench our thirst, and it's kind of interesting. You would think, oh no, it's going to dry it, but it actually, because your body is desiring all of those electrolytes.
Yeah.
Okay. One more I saw up here. SJ said, with going and watching all your videos, I have learned I am eating the right things, but just too much. So I've started tracking it.
That is awesome. That is really awesome. It's good information for us as well.
Yep. Next one's from Juliana.
Hey, Juliana, can we talk about this for a minute? They were half price at the store last night, so my husband got a case of 24.
Okay, let me tell you what she's talking about. I didn't want to put a picture of it. It's a picture of like the Bud Light 0 or 1 carb seltzer water.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So 12 are tea, not a fan, but 12 are fruity lemonades and tasty. They are gluten-free, which I need medically, but they do have cane sugar listed, but only 1 gram. I guess my question would be, how much of a bad idea do you think that they are? Generally speaking, I drink Diet Coke and Captain Morgan or Crystal Light lemonade with vodka. None of it is perfect. I don't drink often, but once in a while, mama needs to unwind. As long as they don't stir up a sweets craving, are these a solid, acceptable maybe thing? All kinds of thoughts from all sides are welcome.
Okay.
Thanks so much for asking that question. That's awesome.
So first thing I'm going to do is answer the question on what she was talking about, which is pretty much refers to any of these. All of the...
There's a lot of them.
1 carb, 2 carb, like seltzer waters, like for the alcoholic seltzer waters, Trulies, the Bud Light ones, Mountain Dew just came out with one. There's lots of different ones out there where there's 1 or 2 carbs for a serving, and there is usually cane sugar in there. You need to understand alcohol though. The way they make it is the fermentation of the sugar is what makes it alcoholic. So it's like our yogurt. When you make the yogurt, there's probably less carbs than we are even figuring in there because the cultures for the yogurt eat up all of the sugar. It's the same thing with yeast, right? Yeast needs sugar. So whenever you have something that has yeast and sugar, there's usually less carbs than you think because it's constantly eating it up. So the cane sugar in there is fine because that's what's making it alcohol. Just understand you're having 1 to 2 carbs. So if you want to drink those every once in a while, it would be acceptable. It's better than drinking like vodka and orange juice or something like that. Or
just going totally off plan.
It goes right along with having vodka, or, like you said, like vodka and a Crystal Light or something like that. It may be 1 extra carb or something like that. With that being said, and this is something we have gone back and forth, and Rachel's like, please don't make this video. And I'm like, we need to make this video. If you are actively trying to lose weight, you need to stay away from alcohol for a while because you need to understand the oxidative priority. When we consume alcohol, the very first thing our body is going to do is like, whoa, I need to handle this. I need to metabolize this alcohol. And that time can take between a couple of hours to a couple of days. Depending on how much you had to drink and how good is your body at metabolizing things. So what happens when you drink that? Everything else that your liver is doing stops, like making ketones, like metabolizing fat. So now what's going to happen to the fat? we're going to go into a stall and possibly even gain weight. So if you're drinking every other day or drinking a couple of times a week and you're in a stall, it could be because you're drinking alcohol and not having giving your body a chance to recover to get back into fat burning mode. So I'm going to suggest if you are trying to actively lose weight, you need to stay away from alcohol for a few months and do your best to do that. And I know nobody wants to hear it.
Yeah, it's hard.
If you are going to have it maybe once a month, and just understand that like you're going to probably hit a stall for a couple of days where your body isn't going to do anything.
I'm tapping out.
The couple of day stall is going to lead to a couple of week stall probably, because that's a couple of day stall to get back into fat burning mode.
Since we're already off in the weeds right now and talking about this subject, can I share one more thing? Mm-hmm. I have noticed, at least for me, my resolve gets lowered when I drink. So let's say that I also am trying to avoid snacking. I am trying to make sure that I'm super intentional in my decision making. When I drink something, my resolve gets lowered, right? Because I will reach for snacks if I'm also having a drink. Snacks that I didn't intend to eat, but it's like, you're making merry, so you might as well really enjoy this moment. So sometimes I have to be careful about that, because am I going to be lowering my inhibitions in all areas of my eating plan?
And it's not just a snack. I can tell you, in the past, I would have a drink and then I want to eat my dinner.
Yeah.
Well, so okay, now I just consumed some alcohol, and that's going to stop my liver from working with the fat, and then I'm eating a fatty meal.
Yes.
So that all becomes an issue. And it's one of the reasons that we really don't drink alcohol very often, if at all, anymore. It's just because it can just lead down a slippery slope where it becomes a couple of days a week or even one day a week. And it's back to, we would party on the weekend and then diet all week long.
Yes.
And I don't want to be in that routine. But again, if you are trying to actively lose weight, I would try to stay away from it for a while. Okay, next one's from Rhiannon.
Hey Rhiannon, non-scale victory. I decided to buy a bike a couple of weeks ago. Today I pumped up the tires and decided to ride it in my back parking lot. I was surprised how confident I felt. I was only going to ride around behind the house. Then I decided to try up and down the driveway. Then what the heck, up and down the street a couple of times. Then I figured around the block, if I got tired, I could just walk home. I made it all the way around the block, and the last fourth of the block is a kind of busy street, but I just kept going. I'm a little sore, my back and knees, but otherwise good. Huge victory for me. Rhiannon, I am so excited for you. What a good idea. And thank you for taking us through the entire process of that journey, because those thoughts and that negotiating with yourself is something we all go through. Should I keep going? Should I stop here? What if I take a little other baby step out and go into the front yard? What if I go around the driveway? And I like how you said, hey, if I get around the block and I have to stop and walk it home, I'm prepared for that, but I'm gonna go ahead and set a new challenge for myself and see if I can push past it. I love that. Good job, girl.
Next one's from Alana.
Hey, Alana.
Alana said, looking for a safe space for support. So it seems like a no-brainer to come to the fabulous 2KK family.
Bless your heart.
My kids are 8 and 10, and last week we met our new family doctor, where he spoke to them about how important it is to prioritize their health and nutrition at this age, because they're going through puberty with a healthy body will give them the best chance of being disease-free in their adult lives.
True.
Both of my kids are slightly overweight, and he, in the most gentle and kind way, managed to convey to them that making good food choices and being active would help them sway that in a better direction.
Awesome.
I've been riding the struggle bus of late myself, and it's been a really bumpy ride. I can't manage to keep my head in the game, and I'm not being a good example. So for these reasons and more, I decided to ask my kids to participate in a health challenge with me. I will be recording the 75 hard that I did with my nutrition Judy in October of 2019, starting tomorrow. My goals will mimic the original challenge, but my kids are going to set their own goals since they are not yet low carb.
Wow.
We will do a separate post later on with our goals. I would love to post our updates and progress here because I feel safer talking to this group about goal setting with my kids. I'm concerned that others will be judgmental with my kids involved, but I know the accountability is huge for me. I will stick to anything if I think someone cares. Okay.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. Number one, I'm so excited that you found a doctor that is talking to you and your children like this. Number 2, I am super proud of you for taking this step to work with your children, because it's something, I don't know how to say this without sounding mean towards other or judgmental. It's something a lot of parents don't want to do.
Yeah.
Right? So I say this all the time, and I do get a lot of hate for saying this. Little kids in our house, like we have adult children, but little kids, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, they really shouldn't have a choice
On eating a bunch of sugar.
on eating a bunch of sugar in your house. That's my personal opinion. And if you disagree with me, that's fine. If you want to hate on me, that's fine. They shouldn't have a choice. Should you give them choices? Yes. But you should determine what those choices are going to be from. I love what Dr. Saiwa said, when we interviewed him, and he was like, they present to their child, do you want chicken, fish, or shrimp? And so he has a choice, but it's not, do you want chicken, fish, or chocolate cake? Chocolate cake, he said, is never an option, right? If you want to give them a treat every once in a while, great. But they shouldn't have the choice of, hey, you can have whatever you want. Oh, you don't want to eat steak? I'm sorry. I'll go ahead and give you a bowl of sugary cereal.
Right.
They shouldn't have that option. That's my personal opinion. I love the fact that they're going to do this with you, because it's so important. You want our kids to do better? Well, we have to do better.
Yeah.
We can't ask our kids to eat healthy and then us eat like garbage. And this is not a do as I say, not as I do.
We have to lead by example.
And that's why I look at Abby from House of Keto. She leads by example. And don't be afraid of people lashing out at you, especially in this community. If somebody's going to lash out at you in the community going hey, you shouldn't have your kids do keto, we will take care of that in our group anyway. Yeah. At least in our group, you're going to take care of that. People within the keto community aren't lashing out at Dr. Barry and Nisha for the way they're raising Beckett and the way they're going to raise their other child. Nobody's lashing out at Dr. Saivis for having their child pretty much be a carnivore.
Yeah.
Maybe the outside will, but not within the community.
There are people that love you.
And that's what, we have a loving community. And please, I'm interested in seeing the journey.
I want to see that, because, that's going to help other parents know, how do I live it out, right? And I tear up a little bit, because it's people say, I love my kids and I would die for my children, but will you live for your children? Will you show them how to take the doctor's words and apply it to their life? Okay, so the doctor, who is a professional, has given a challenge to your precious children to lead a healthy life, but they need your help learning how to live that out. And the fact that you're going to hold their hand through this experience is just such a gift of motherhood, such a gift of parenthood, to be able to lead your children in the right direction that is going to bless them for the whole rest of their life, right? Because even after we're gone, I want our children to be able to reference back to what will bless them as they are our age one day, right?
Yeah, and listen, our younger kids, even our kids, our 10, 11, or 12, or 15-year-old, they don't need to do keto. Yeah. Unless they've gotten so far gone and they're morbidly obese already and they're already getting into diabetes. That's a different case. And again, not a doctor, nurse, or health professional. But for our kids, a great diet to raise our children on is just the primal diet. Go read Mark Sison's book, right? Whole food, meat, vegetables, eating that primal diet is a great way. And then if they go to a birthday party and they eat a small piece of cake, that's, the once in a blue moon thing. But their basic diet should just be whole foods, healthy vegetables. I don't necessarily get into the healthy grains aspect of it, but healthy vegetables and mostly meat. We are omnicarnivores. We are mostly meat eaters with a little bit of vegetables.
Opportunistically.
Yep. Okay, we have, I think, one more. This was from Sabrina.
Hey, Sabrina.
Sabrina said, she put up this little thing. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. But here's what I loved about this. I just had a nice lunch meetup with James Ortega and Angela Ortega at one of our favorite restaurants in town. We all thought this sign posted was very relative to our keto lifestyle.
How precious.
So what I like about it is not just the sign, is these are subscribers from Two Crazy Ketos that have met up and become friends.
I love
and
that.
I love looking at that in our community. And you're seeing it all over our
community.
community.
You're heading me towards like needing tissues because that is so precious. That is the great like hope of ours, that not only will you have an opportunity to learn more about like what do you eat on, in a keto lifestyle, but also you'll find some community. And that is just so precious. And thank you guys for leading by example in this way and saying like, hey, we're going to, make an effort to meet up, instead of just saying like, well, there's not a lot of people in my life, I don't have a lot of friends who are keto, focusing on, hey, are there some friendships that I have made that I can go out with them to dinner? I love that.
Okay, let's get into some comments here. Let's see. This is
Hey, Chelsea.
Chelsea? Oh,
yeah.
You're better than me. I think sleep must be my trouble. I like to stay up till 1 or 2 a.m. and then getting up at 7 a.m. I'm eating right, but not losing my weight. Hormones play a factor too.
It definitely does. Like, I think that sleep is a huge thing for us. We definitely, when we prioritize it and schedule it, like it's like an event. Your sleep is a meeting you cannot afford to miss. That when you can put it into your calendar like that, and I don't even mind like talking to my workplace and saying, I'm sorry, but I have got to adjust my schedule in such a way that I get some sleep in.
So guys, thank you so much. Sorry about the issues with the internet, but unfortunately I can't control the internet.
Man, it really yet another thing we can't control.
Janet said just when they had company for dessert. That's
there you
when
go.
They would have it. Yeah, that's what we didn't have a whole lot of company, but that's when we did it. So again, later on today, we're going to have chronometer video going up. Go ahead and check that out. We also have another vlog going up. We're trying to get a little bit on top of getting the vlogs out within 1 or 2 days of when we film it.
That's the goal.
Don't forget about Thursday's live stream, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. Everybody have a great day.
We love
Bye.
you.